What's going on, everybody? Bobby Fine, Eric Schutzaber. We're going to be talking through this Monday 9-game slate. A little bit different lineups came out today, so just keep an eye on that. You might want to rerun your stuff because, as usual, on Mondays you're going to get some different lineups than we expect. Not a whole lot else for me has drastically changed. Oh, the one thing was Dane Dunning is pitching, not Urena, for Texas, so maybe a little bit less interest in Pittsburgh, although I still have some interest in Pittsburgh. So that was I guess the one big thing. Anything for you, Sheets, that's majorly changed before we get into what we like?
Nothing's really changed except, if I'm not mistaken, oh no, he isn't. For whatever reason, I thought De La Cruz is not. De La Cruz is going to be in for Pittsburgh. Oh, he's going to be in for both, right? Hold on. Yeah. De La Cruz is not playing for Pittsburgh, right? Okay.
Yeah. I did want to say. Yeah, De La Cruz is not in for Pittsburgh, and neither is Brian Hayes. If you had him in there. I wanted to throw out there real quick before we jump into everything, just because we're going to be raising the prices tomorrow. So if anybody's interested in signing up with us, do it now and get grandfathered in. Probably a good idea. We will run an NFL promo code in probably a week or so, but it's going to be probably just for like the first month, a decent percentage off the first month, something that kind of thing. So did want to just remind people that before we get going. Sorry, Sheets, didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's fine. The only which lineups don't we have here? We don't have Kansas City. Excuse me, we don't have Tampa from the late game, and that's interesting to me because I kind of like them.
Yeah, we don't have that. We don't have the Tampa. We don't have the Dodgers. We just got the Giants. Just came in, but it hasn't even updated, I don't think, on SaberSim yet. And hopefully we'll get those pretty soon. But yeah, Tampa seems to be a trending team today. Which I wasn't really expecting. I am on the other side of that. I love Joe Boyle, and I guess we can get into pitching a little bit. As a contrarian play, I think that Joe Boyle is a really interesting play. My pitching exposure is I have Kikuchi a little over 40%, King 35%, Gausman 30%. This is DraftKings. Bradley 25%, Boyle 22%, Kyle Harrison 22%. Gavin Stone 10%, Lugo 8%. So I'm a little bit spread out in pitching on DraftKings. How are you finding it?
Like again, I'm gonna run everything again, but like right now, let me just for the lottery, I guess. I'm playing 150 in that $5 tonight. I'm actually I'm pretty much with the field, I guess. I have like 40% Michael King, and then Kikuchi. And Taj Bradley. Those are the three top ones I'm getting in the lottery. But in the big buy-in, I'm kind of feeling a couple of other guys. I'm kind of feeling George Stone and also Kevin Gausman. They're just gonna be a little low, and not so much Gausman, but I think Stone's gonna be a little low. I mean, much lower owned. He's got a great matchup, and I'm not particularly. I want to say sold, but all these pitchers look fine, I guess. I got just a hankering to just play honestly, to just play Boston against Kikuchi, if you want to know the truth.
Okay.
So I'm not afraid of Kikuchi. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I think he's got the highest upside on the slate. Boston's the highest strikeout team in baseball by a pretty good amount against lefties. But they, as you sort of, we didn't exactly mention this part of it, but they are actually they hit lefties well. They just don't hit they swing and miss a lot, but they tend to hit them hard when they do make contact. So I can get behind that. So yeah, for me, for the stacks, I'm a little bit spread out on DraftKings, to be honest with you, with my team stacks. I did the scripted thing. I'm playing the 150 of the $5. I ended up with the most Dodger players, but some of those are 4-man, some of those are 3-mans. Next most for me is Texas, followed by Kansas City, but I had almost zero, like literally like 2% or 1% Kansas City full stacks. Mostly they're my 3-man stacks. So the Dodgers, Texas, Toronto, San Francisco, Mets, Baltimore in that order for me. But it's pretty close between all of them for me.
Yeah, I'm not really getting to the Dodgers today. Oddly,
fair enough. Brian Wu has been unbelievable. Like I have no issue if anybody doesn't want to play the Dodgers. It's one of those slates where there's a lot of things that look kind of similar, and I like to take the high upside offenses in those cases. And even if I'm not fully stacking the Dodgers, obviously Ohtani and Vets are always terrific, one-offs or mini stack, whatever you want to call it. But I'm just playing the good off. I mean, look, Brian Wu. If you look at what he's done, you wouldn't understand why anybody would ever stack against him. He basically never doesn't walk anybody, doesn't get hit, doesn't get crushed. He usually gets to face teams like Oakland a million times. He doesn't get to face teams like the Dodgers very often. So we'll see how it goes. Brian Wu is actually I think a guy who's in a year or two we're going to be talking about him as one of the best 10 pitchers in baseball. I really think he's got a huge upside.
In your stacks in your 150 set, are you manually doing anything like a certain percentage of 5-mans, 4-mans, and stuff like that?
Yeah, I adjusted a little bit because I feel like it's so I asked for more. I have a 10% 4-4s, and then I have 5% of other like a 4-3 and 4-2s. But mostly most of my stacks are 5-man. I do have a couple 3-3-2 stacks, but nothing crazy. Most of them do tend to go the 5-man route today. Actually, you know what? That's not true. I've got a little bit. I've got actually 20% of 4-man stacks. So it's about 12, 5, and 5 between 4-4, 4-3, and 4-2.
And obviously, I misspoke. Not George Stone, but Gavin Stone for the Dodgers. Yep,
and have a little bit of that as well. So, what did you find on FanDuel as your main pitcher? We talked about Gausman being a little bit.
I'm literally doing it right now, so I'll let you know after I do it. I imagine that we'll be getting like a whole bunch of Gausman, right? I mean, he just shows up as a much better play here. I'll let you know in a second. Looking at some of these lineups, I mean, Seattle Reds. I'm literally doing it right now. As a matter of fact, here I'll share my screen.
Yeah, let's take a look.
See what we got going here. So we just built the 5,000, and before we simmed anything, it'd be like getting all the Pittsburgh, like you mentioned. I mean, like SaberSim is really without any adjustments. They really want you to play Pittsburgh, even with the kind of diluted lineup.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'm going to be
diluted lineup, and it's almost like it's sort of like a bullpen-ish game because that's what Dunning's been like lately. He's been just throwing like 60 to 75 pitches, and it's a bad bullpen. But in general, the bullpen games don't work as well to stack against. So I didn't like them as much as I did initially today. I preferred them against Urena.
So listen here. So if you guys want to just do the main settings, right? You could hit add all contest sims, where it'll tell you it'll give you the fields that SaberSim really likes. But let's just do these one at a time and let's just see. So for the squeeze, the flagship MME is going to work. With Grand Slam, they wanted me to play more of a 20 max build for the field. I'll keep that. But I like to double check this. Add contest sims. Oh, it's just another thing going on today. I got like third or something in that Keystone thing a week or two ago, and it qualifies me for this final tonight. It's sort of ridiculous. Well, I'll tell you why in a second. So it's like 8K for first or whatever it is, right? But there are like 140 people in it, and people have like 4 entries. I mean, how do you have a final of a single entry series and people can have 4 entries?
I've never understood quite the FanDuel single entry series. They've played around with it a bunch of different times, and it always seems strange to me. But still, that's cool. That's nice. It'd be nice to win it.
Well, obviously. Well, let's see. So now we're going to run these sims here. Oh, see, this is what happens sometimes, and I have to ask SaberSim. You see here how I have like all these different contests. What these are like? These are the same things repeated twice. So what I did was earlier in the day, I assigned what the settings I want for each of this, and then you saw I just did it again. But I have no idea whether the top ones are the most recent or the bottom ones. So I have to ask SaberSim how to deal with that. So what I can do, look at this, I'll just delete them all, and I'll just do them again. And it takes me 2 seconds, but I keep reminding myself I have to. We'll add again. We'll do the same thing before. Add contest sim, squeeze MME. Got to remember there. Maybe someone can ask for me in the SaberSim Discord somehow. Okay, high stakes SE, monster. For the monster, even though they want you to play assumed high stakes 20 max, I don't know. I feel as though it's just high stakes MME more. So we'll change it to that. We'll keep changing it to that. All right. So now we are what do we have here? I also don't have the. Hang on. I also don't have the this thing, the single entry final. Okay. All right. So now it's all set. And again, this isn't particularly exciting, but this is what I do. So run contest sims. And you see what I did on the side here. I did put for team stacks, not team stacks, stack exposures, only 4 4s and 4 3s for the purposes of this.
Mhm.
I might change my mind as far as that goes, but that's one thing that I do. And so then we just go ahead and we just grind. Now you'll see that it kind of like populates a little slowly, like first Grand Slam, then Keystone, then Monster. I guess what it is, it's still thinking about how to display the stuff, but meanwhile it wants to just tell you what it can display. So so then we just go to MLB Squeeze, and there's a little bit on SaberSim now about whether you should be sorted by risk-adjusted ROI or just regular ROI. They apparently did a change in the calculation for ROI, which I honestly have not dived into too heavily. So I don't know, but I'm going to continue to do a risk-adjusted ROI. And then here's the other thing that I like to do nowadays is I'm going to make changes to go min uniques more than one, but I don't want it to affect my overall portfolio too much and give me like crap lineups. So what you guys have seen me do is create this little aggregate metric here, which can keep track of what my average, at least projected score is on my lineups that I have. So here it's the average projection is 81. So what we're going to do is now do more min uniques and just track and see, number one, how this gets affected, and number two, how the stack exposure gets affected. And once I make a change that affects it too much, then I'll stop.
Yeah.
So if this one goes from 81, all right, so now it's already done something. It's brought me to more 2-2-2-2s. So to me, that's kind of a sign. So I'm going to go back to here, back to min uniques 3, and then we're just going to save it. And in keeping with my my process, I am not looking to see who I have. So I lied when I said I'm going to know who I have. I will not. But this is the process that we use. And we go into now. You'll be able to tell who I have in the monster because it's going to probably display it on the right, maybe, but maybe. And again, I've just really become very, very comfortable with this. People think I'm doing either like to show off or whatever. It's really not like that. I just feel as though my biases just get in the way of my process more than my biases would help. So I did a lot of good work with the projections earlier, right? So if I'm confident with that and I trust the process, I'm going to be confident with this. So we'll do this, and then what we can do. Let's take a look, and then what am I going to use for the single entry series? So I could use something from a single entry, but they're not all single entries. So let's use this one again. Let's use that 20 max setting for that final. So we'll do that. And the key, by the way, is once I do this, it's not the end of the story. You got to be. I'm going to be late swapping as much as I can tonight. And people ask me, by the way, again, I don't want to get too theoretical here, but every once in a while I have to restate this fact. People think that, okay, what late swap is for when, say, your lineups are not doing very well. And by the way, you see right away, my first lineup I'm looking at here leaves 1,700 on the table. I don't care.
Wouldn't care either.
My point is that people think that when you're only supposed to use late swap when you are either killing it or not killing or getting killed. And there's no reason to late swap just for no reason. And I push back the opposite, is that if you are going to use at least SaberSim to late swap, it takes into account what the previously played players have been owned and have scored. Okay. So when you rerun anything with that new information, you are going to get a new build. And regardless of how you've done or whatever, you should always prefer the new build to your old build. And it seems kind of strange, right? Because you build stuff at 655 with good projections or whatever it is. And let's just say even no projections of games in the future have changed, right? Like, why would you change something just because results have come in? Well, because those results, you didn't know exactly what they were going to be beforehand.
And the idea
Right.
is that the more information you have, the more intelligent you can predict the future, right? So you should always have a different portfolio later in the, than what you started with. Now the thing is, you don't know what it's going to look like yet. Okay. And I know this is a kind of strange thought, but that's really the way the math works on all this stuff. The more information that you have processed for you to make decisions, the better. So you should always be changing. It's kind of like, I don't want to get into this whole thing, but the old Monty Hall problem where you're given the opportunity to switch once the host reveals one of the doors that's not correct or something like that. Well, I'll do that some other time. But you should
I know what you're talking about.
You should always adjust based on new information. Now again, also it's important obviously keep track of the lineup changes as they're coming in also. So that's the process, and that is what I'm applying to FanDuel.
Yep, absolutely. I did want to point out a couple things because we don't have a Dodger lineup. For anybody who is playing the Dodgers, Saberson might give you Freddie Freeman. Freddie Freeman is not going to play baseball tonight and probably not for any time soon. So I would keep that in mind. There's almost no chance that he plays. They've already announced that he'll miss Monday at least, but for some reason Saberson didn't get the memo. So he keeps popping up in the Dodger build. So
Saberson he's going to be out, you're saying?
They've announced that he was going to be out at least Monday's game because I think it's his son. So I don't understand this question. So Corey asking, what type of build is better, cash or GPP for 500 entries? What are you? I'm assuming you're playing tournaments, so you'd be playing. It would be the GPP set, the GPP option. You wouldn't be building 500 cash lineup. I don't really understand. I guess which tournament that would be.
What's the question?
So, he says, what type of build is better, cash or GPP for 500 entries?
You mean for a 500 entry GPP?
It must be a 500 entry field GPP. Yeah, you still want to go with the GPP for its 500 entries. But
the thing is, again, the only thing I can tell you is what Saberson does. So if you wanted to assign like a contest field to run something, remember you built 5,000 lineups, so it's in here somewhere, right? So what you could do is you could add a contest sim, and you can use like any of these things that you want, so and as a matter of fact, like if you wanted to, you could specify the contest size like within here, like you could create a cash one, or you could put literally, I wouldn't say 500 people, so 500 people, and what is it, a cash game build, or is it it's a straight whatever
500 GPP build.
Yeah, so whatever, so 20% get paid, 30% for first. You could customize it and put it in here, and you call it whatever you want. You could call it flagship MME, you call it whatever you want, but you can change all of these details. So it's not like what's more appropriate to put in a 500 person lineup, cash or GPP. Everything is GPP is just like basically an industry term. You know what I mean? Like all GPP means like just it's an analytical term that means a shitload of people. Okay, that's what GPP is, right? And a results distribution that's really, really top heavy. Where cash is 50-50s or whatever. But to say like cash versus GPP, everything is just a tournament, and every tournament has a number of entries and a prize distribution. And what software like this does, it lets you actually like specify what exactly that is instead of having to give it a name. Instead of saying like this is a GPP type of build, well, forget that. It's a build for 542.89 people, right? That pays 24.377 per whatever you want to call it. Okay, you could enter that in here and be sure that it's doing its best, right, to tailor your lineups to that. Now, again, it's not perfect because nothing's perfect, but hope that answers your question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you want to refine it, Corey, go ahead and please do so. So you're not so I'm guessing, Cheats, you're playing one in the 88. You're still doing the Saberson builds. Are you putting any of your own things on the single end? If you're playing
for the big build, again, I might just say screw Saberson, screw everybody, and do what I want to do, which is play Stone, Gausman, and Tampa KC. Okay. I'm thinking about that. But maybe not. I mean, I really haven't decided yet. But the process is the same, like to get to my build. And then if I really have an opinion, like for what I'll do sometimes is this, like I'll pull up my sheets and here's like what it looks like my thing. And this is the way I like to analyze it. And it's stupid, but I know my sheets better than everybody. And I see this like Sheets value score, which is the way that after all the projections are put in and all whatever, this is how you rate these guys. And you know what I see? I see everybody's really freaking close. Okay. So if everybody's really freaking close, I'm going to try for something low owned. Okay. And to that point, I have no problem with your Joe Boyle play. You know what I mean? Because it's not like any of these guys at the top are that great. Right. So I would have no problem, or even like I might even play Tanner Houck, you know, like like Houck and Stone, right? 7% each, manually build that because it's being supported by projections. And then I will go into say my stack page. Again, if you don't want to use Sabersim, this is a way to use the TrueDFS stuff and be kind of cool about it. And I'll sort them by say modified stack, which is basically Sheets value scores applied to stacks anyway. And you'll see that you have like these three guys at the top, like Tampa, KC, Toronto. And I'll look at the ownership and KC looks really popular. But I mean, Tampa's not bad. And I'm looking at the Angels here. The Angels look pretty freaking close. Maybe I'll play the Angels. Look at their ownership. They have like nothing, you know?
That was what Sabersim was trying to give me at the beginning of the day. Was give me all the Angels. And you know what? Lugo's had some blow-up games. He's struggled a lot lately. So maybe that's not the worst idea in the world, even though I didn't get there much myself.
And then the other thing I'll do is, okay, so I originally sorted by modified stack here. So I remember like Tampa, KC, and the Angels down here. But just to double check to make sure I'm not just playing value for stupid value's sake, right? I'll go to this just regular like raw points here, and I'll see that KC and Tampa also show up over here, which is really strong. And I have to go really far down to get any like Angels. So maybe the Angels are value for no reason. You know what I mean? Like maybe they're just like good point per dollar plays. They're just not going to amount to anything. Right. So that's why I'm thinking of maybe like a big 5-man Tampa with Stone. And this is what I might not actually do this, but this is the way I think about it. If I don't feel like just letting Sabersim build for me. And I think maybe Stone and Houck. If you play Stone and Houck, you do whatever you want. Right. So maybe I can even play Kansas City with Stone and Houck, you know? And the other good thing about doing that is well, I was going to say that you could late swap out a Stone later if you don't like it, but I don't know. So again, like it's not completely automated my systems here, you know. But like most DFS sports that have late swap, being a good late swapper is really important. So one thing I will promise you, whatever I put in 655 is not going to be what's in there at 1055. And it might not even resemble it. So we'll see.
Right. And that's another advantage, again, to just saying if you like games equally, that there is some advantage in playing the later games, especially using the system through Sabersim. Because of that edge that you have there. And also, we don't, again, I'm just going to mention, we don't have lineups, and we really don't know for sure who's playing for Tampa Bay, but they did call their top prospect up. You'd assume they're going to give him all the run in the world, or all the minute, all the.
And who is that?
Junior Caminero.
Oh, yeah. He's been playing.
He's played twice. Yeah. I think for 2 or 3 games, but the lineup looks a little bit, they're super cheap. So basically, what I did is I tried to get less of the 5-3 and 5-2 today because I like this. Well, I like some one-offs, but very specifically. I always want to try to get Ohtani. My next guy I always try to get would be Bobby Witt or Mookie Betts. And if you play those three guys, and I guess it's a 2-man Dodger stack there because you've got Betts and Ohtani, but you can play a 5-man stack very easily with those three guys from Tampa Bay. You can play a 5-man stack from the Angels with that. I won a 6-figure tournament one time with a 5-man stack that scored 1 run because my other players, I had 3 guys who had 2 home runs each, and that's my one-off. So I'm not saying it's the best way to always play, but I'm just saying that. You don't necessarily, if you're going to pay that little for a stack, you don't necessarily need it to be the highest scoring team on the slate.
I'll tell you this. Oh my God, it's so funny. The San Francisco lineups are out. That's rare, right?
Yeah, they got it out there and making some adjustments. They're pretty much most of what we thought, I think. Yeah.
Lamont Wade, 3,400 hitting second. I mean, that's got to be.
Yep. So that's what I'm doing on FanDuel too. Is I'm playing the Dodgers and Giants as my stacks right now. And I love Seager for what it's worth, whether you play him in a stack or
I agree with that.
I think this is a really good matchup. And also, I just want to throw out again, if you're playing on FanDuel and you can get kind of play positions everywhere, I really like the idea of trying to get overweight all these shortstops. Shortstop has become the most talented position in all of baseball. It's the highest upside with guys like Ellie De La Cruz, O'Neal Cruz, Mookie Betts, although he's outfield eligible now too, and Bobby Witt, of course. I just think you want to try to prioritize that position and not try to spend down there as much in general in baseball anymore. It used to be you could spend down at shortstop and catcher. Now I don't think you want to be spending down at shortstop unless it's part of your stack. Hardly ever. Just my take.
Yeah. So this Tampa lineup is going to be important, I think.
Yeah. And we have literally no idea. Like these guys could be Jose Caballero. I'm looking at 2 different sites right now. One's got him hitting first. The other one's got him hitting ninth. And he's 3,500. I have no idea which one it's going to be. So
Right.
I don't even know if Tampa knows. But I will tell you though, if you're not playing Tampa, I would encourage people to get some of this Boyle. This guy's he can fire it, and it can work against him. But if he gets it going, I have a feeling he's going to actually put in some really decent games before the end of the year. So it's my personal take. One thing I've tried to do to offset it, and look, it's worked so far. I mean, I haven't been winning, but I haven't been losing. I've been winning like little tiny amounts. You know what I mean? But I really tried to start watching more of the games and do the opposite of sort of what you do, because it's my advantage is a little different. It comes from the knowledge of the sport. And I hadn't been watching as much baseball this year, but I've really sort of I dove back into it, started reading a lot more articles, started listening to more podcasts. And I do feel like it's giving me a better handle of like what's happening. Whether I win or lose, I just feel like I'm more in control than I was before. Where I felt like I was sort of not flying blind, but flying a little more blind than I should have been.
I'm going to update projections here. Anthony Rendon, let's see, 3,400.
Anthony Rendon. I wish that they could just he's a guy I actually consider the X button on every day. The guy has hit 1 home run in his last 1,000 at bats, I think. This was an incredible home run hitter at one point.
What happened to Abreu?
Oh, he's not playing in the big leagues anymore.
No,
it's crazy how it just happens for these guys, just out of the blue. They're nothing anymore. These were 2 of the best hitters in baseball for 15 years.
Yep.
I one time wimped out on Anthony Rendon had 3 home runs in a game one time, and I had 1 player left, and I had the exact same lineup as another guy. I knew he had the same thing as me because we both had enough money to afford Mike Trout, and this was when Rendon was on the Rangers. And I was like, I could switch to Rendon, but it's $3K less. Nobody's gonna that way. I'll separate myself, and I can give myself a chance to beat this guy, but I just won't have Trout. And I pansied out and didn't do it. And Rendon, of course, hit 3 home runs that would have won me the tournament. I was like really, really tilted. I ended up finishing like 10th or something for like $1,000. Anyway, that's my stupid little Anthony Rendon story. Yeah, it's pretty weird. I'm looking at my FanDuel lineup. I don't have any player who's actually been announced in yet.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
It's all Giants and Dodgers. Oh, the Giants actually are out now. Sorry. I do have the Giants now. I just haven't updated. I'm really curious what the Dodgers do with their lineup tonight. I have no idea what it's going to look like because Muncy might be in there. Edmund might be in there. But we've got no Freeman most likely. And we need the White Sox lineup too.
How many games are they going to lose this year?
Oh boy, a lot.
They have one of like the top 10 pitchers in baseball, and he's like,
I know they can't even pitch him because he's too good.
Exactly
like the weird version of tanking. Let's see. Yeah, their lineup is pretty much the same. They do have that Grant McCray down there cheap at the bottom of the order. If anybody needs that, 2,500 savings. I'm in on the Harrison thing too. I think that there's, I'm in on Harrison, but to be honest, I actually ended up with a little more White Sox, even just one-offs. Like Corey Lee, give me that power for 2,200. You know what I mean? I just keep ending up playing this guy, and I never feel bad about it.
Oh, so the pitcher for the Reds turned out to be the Aguilar?
Aguilar, yeah. That's why I like the Blue Jays. But let's see what else we got here. Any other questions, guys? Any other thoughts? As Rody said, please hit the like button. We appreciate it. We want to keep doing these videos for free. I also want to just remind everybody, encourage you to check out She's Process videos that he's loaded sporadically throughout the last couple of weeks. I think that you really, really, really can get something out of them, whether or not, it doesn't have to be for the specific slate you're looking at. You'll get some good ideas of how to run stuff. So Corey was mentioning he just signed up with us. Corey, I would check out those videos if I were you from Sheets and just I
got to organize those somehow.
You could probably find a section way to do it or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, just waiting on lineups other than all the other stuff.
Did you play any of the Zebby Matthews or no?
I didn't play the Zebby Matthews because I don't think he throws enough pitches for me. But I do like. I'll tell you what. If he was 6.1K on FanDuel again, I would have absolutely played him.
Okay.
He's now up to 8,300 on FanDuel. But that was my initial what I was thinking. I could play him and then play just basically all the bats I want. Let's see what else we got here. I think I don't have a whole bunch else to add. I'm seeing if there's anything else.
No, I mean you see what I'm doing with DraftKings as well. We'll take out the. I like the 4-4s and see I don't know. I've had some good experience with the 4-4s. So.
Yeah, I may as well.
So those stay in. That's it.
Yeah.
And we're just going to do the same thing on DraftKings. And as I stressed, this is just going to go on as often as you can do it throughout the course of the evening.
Mm-hmm.
So, and again, you see, I put the average projection in there, and then let's just wait for the knuckleball to show up. Do that one first. Knuckleball, risk-adjusted ROI. And all right, so see on the left here, you have all these 4-4s, 3-3-2s. Now again, it concerns me that I'm getting so many of those. Maybe I'm doing not something wrong, but maybe I'm missing something. But I'm just going to kind of live with that. So okay, average projection 94.5. So let's knuckleball, risk-adjusted ROI, and then min uniques will keep on coming down here. So 94.5 to 94.5 to 94.6 actually went up when you went down, made one more. And then, so far, so good. I mean, which I like when I'm playing a full 150. Mm-hmm. Okay, that it dropped like a full point there. So let's go back up to min uniques 4. And again, what does 1 point mean? Why is it 1 point instead of 2? I literally have no idea. I'm literally making it up. It just feels like that's the number that's gonna move the needle for me. I don't know what else to say. Mm-hmm. The other thing that's interesting is that I as you'll see, I use ball 4 and mega 8s with the same field settings. So I want to make sure to go min unique 2. I don't want to have the same lineup in both of those contests. Mm-hmm. So I'll make sure to change that. And then who's out? Someone's out for Tampa? There's a little yellow thing there. I have to take a look.
Yeah, they're saying that Rortvit is out, the catcher, but we don't actually have a lineup yet from them. But I got a note from DraftKings.
You got a notification that he's probably out?
The notification said he was out, but I didn't
well, so if that's the case, right? So then what you can do is go right here. You can hit X this right now. And X them out of all these, no problema, right? Mm-hmm. And then what's cool about building 5,000 lineups is that it automatically was able to replace all the lineups with him in it without you having to rerun everything. And that I think is probably the coolest part.
That is cool.
Of all of SaberSim. I mean, honestly. So let's just go back and do this again. Min uniques 3, min uniques 4. Plenty of time. Uniques 5. Let's go to stack exposure again. Yep, and it went down to full point, so we'll go back to here. I don't even know how many lives I had with the Blake dude in it, but may as well. It's so fast that I could just go ahead and do this. And then we'll do single entry. And then for those of you that have been following along, you know what I have to do next? Now I have to go back to FanDuel with that Blake, whatever his name is, news. Just in case I have him in. And again, I'm going to be changing everything anyway when the Tampa lineups come out, but you may as well have your lineups guys you know are in. I mean, in case, we forget to go back. Okay, so this, and then in, and then again, we'll go back to FanDuel. It was a crazy freaking tennis slate. I did a long video on tennis today.
Oh, yeah. What was it? What was it?
Like insane bits of chalk that like it was impossible to fade, and they both freaking totally smashed. So nobody won any money. I mean, like basically. So let's go back to FanDuel. And who's the guy? Blake something? Let's go back to that.
Brett Rortvit.
Brett
RRT.
All right, so let's go back into where were these lineups? Was it build 3? Was it? Where the hell were my lineups? Oh, here. Okay. So let's see. What's the guy's name? Brett.
RRT.
Yeah. So I did have him in 2 lineups out of 50, but may as well take him out, right?
Yeah.
How you spell it again? RORT.
RRT.
Okay, out, and then we'll go back in there. Get rid of this, and then same thing. Squeeze. I don't even know which one it was in, but it's all right. We can just do this again. It may seem like grudge work, but that's it's really not that bad. Because remember, all the cool stuff was done before him. This is to me is the culmination of the work, And then also don't forget the late swapping, which we have to do later.
Right. Yeah, that's the big thing.
Playing any Orioles?
Yeah, I have I think 14%. Yeah, 14%.
Nice. And just to be
stay with the brand.
Just to stay with the brand. Hold on, let me just make sure I do stack exposure. Let's get rid of the 3-2. Just to be with the brand, we're going to put the same lineup in the monster as we are in the free roll. So,
okay, there you go.
Whatever that is.
So the single entry is the free roll.
Right.
Okay, gotcha.
Well, I'm playing the single entry anyway.
Right.
The other one, the new one. But the one that I won we got second or whatever it was last week, each week they have like a final or something.
Right.
Okay, so
who knows? By the end, you might be there might be some sort of live final at the end. I don't know.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Yeah, you played out at the Roto Grinders offices in Nashville or something.
They did it, and they actually did it in Nashville.
Oh, really?
Because they did the same night as the live final for FanDuel. Because I was there for the live final for FanDuel. And then they were playing the single entry live final also.
Yeah, I wonder when is what's his name's finals? The Roadies.
Roadies is like next week, I believe.
Really?
Yeah. So hopefully we can get some good news out of him.
Yep. Oh, we'll definitely sweat that.
Yep, absolutely.
What you should do, Roadie, if you're out there, you should do a video of your build of that lineup. I think people would appreciate that.
Yeah, that would be great, Roadie. You just release it after the fact.
Yeah, what you do is you do the YouTube, and I've been learning how to do this with the LOL stuff. You do a YouTube video once you have it down. Like you can be changing it right up until the tournament, right? I mean, I guess is it a baseball? He won a baseball.
Yeah, 3 baseball.
So I mean, I presume that he's going to probably consider late swapping anyway. But I remember one of the best videos I've ever watched was kind of like a 3-parter where Max from SaberSim went through his process of building his NFL live final thing. It was like three different sections. Like one was like 3 days before, when he was looking at the stuff, and he did a build in like 2 days before and whatever. It was really cool to follow along. So I don't have any live finals to do videos for. So it's on you, Rody. All right. I guess I'm going to go because you know what, Mrs. Sheets is making some awesome turkey chili. So I'm down for that. So I'm going to get going.
This weekend. All right, Rody, let's do it. Yeah. All right, Cheats, have a great night.
Talk to you later.
And good luck, everybody. All right, talk to you guys and see you guys in the Discord.